All right, welcome to OC Life, where we turn your life into a message. Man, it is glad to be back.
Yes, sir.
We are back. We are back. It has been about a month. We have been gone. Summer break, summertime. All the boys are out, and we know CT is out faking that he's working, but he should be back. Man, what's been going on with you?
Man, just been enjoying life, man. Just enjoying the summer break, and just enjoying life, man, with the family and everything. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, well, Tanya and I, we were out in Hawaii. We had a great time. I learned mahalo or whatever it is. But anyways, we had a great time out there. We apologize for being gone for so long. I'll tell you, it has really been a blessing, and it is super hot out here in Texas. We're at the triple digits right now.
Texas heat.
And, I don't think we need to get any darker, by the way.
No.
But it is definitely a blessing. We are here, and we are only able to do the OC Life podcast because of our platinum sponsor and CEO, Jarvis Elder of BNB-SUITES, who is our number one sponsor, along with AAUCS cleaning service, where staying clean is the way of life, as well as Unique.shapewear. If you want to get your shapewear, ladies, men, you want to look right, please go off of Full Hood Street, go see Yunise, which is Jarvis's wife, at Unique.shapewear. And also to, I always forget this one, Divine Ingredients. Divine Ingredients, get your Divine Ingredients wear. And so you can look divine. And I will tell you, want to say, give a big shout out to Mari. He's getting ready to head out to Edward Waters College. Breonn's got to work late. Take flight. He'll be back here in the next couple of episodes. But man, Jarvis is glad to be back. I'll be honest with you. There's a host of events that are going on. Right now, again, we had another shooting at the Greenwood Mall, which my nieces were at the mall at that time. They really were. And it's just a sad thing with all the shootings. We actually had a chance to go out to Uvalde back in June, and what a sad sight that was.
How was that experience?
Well, that experience was very, very humbling. Me being a victim of an active shooter before, it just was very compelling for me to go. So it took Tanya and my mom, and we all went up there. And, senseless killings is a time that we're in. And I just don't understand why there's so much hatred in the world. All the heat waves going out in Europe. Europe is burning up. Russia and Ukraine are still going to war.
Brittany Griner hasn't came home yet.
Yeah, Brittany Griner hasn't came home yet. And I don't know what the hell is taking so long for her to come home. If you look at the, what's the podcast with LeBron James? I don't know. I forgot the name of it.
I forgot the name. Barbershop.
Barbershop.
Yeah.
LeBron was correct. He talked about basically, hey, why would she want to come back to America? America hadn't got her home yet. Yeah. One question I did want to ask you was, if Michael Jordan was captured over in Russia, how long would it take to get MJ back? Steph Curry, LeBron James.
I wouldn't think long. They'll get them back home as soon as possible. I think so, because they're icons.
Do you see a double standard in what's going on? I mean, I know the WNBA is steadily trying to come back online. I don't think they'll ever get to the status of the NBA, but I do think the WNBA is becoming more popular. Yes. But I don't see the fairness in, she's still an American. She's an iconic basketball player. She actually played up the road from us here in Baylor.
Yes, she did. Everybody made mistakes. She made a big mistake at that time, and she probably didn't know the Russia laws. So I just think, man, we can try to get her back home. I think we should get her back home as soon as possible. I think so.
Yeah, and I want to say congratulations to Mari. He and his girlfriend, they have another child. Yeah, so that was a new addition to the OC Life Podcast family, Divine Ingredients family. Also, Breonn is out. He's working late. You can go to the YMCA and train with Jarvis and Breonn, and Breonn will get you right. Well, there's been a lot going on. Like I said, I personally, my wife and I, we went on vacation to Hawaii. That was my first time going to Hawaii. Hawaii is always good, pretty expensive, but we definitely had a chance to go out there and enjoy some nice R&R time. And what I was most intrigued about in Hawaii was the fact that the weather was so different from here and there. I had not 1 acre pain being out there. And then when I came back here, my legs started aching again, the shoulders started aching again. So you would think that the more hotter weather, the lesser aches and pains. But for some odd reason, the vibe out there was really good. And we definitely thank you for everything that you've done for us here in our family. But we're going to jump into a couple of things. Well, as you notice, we're in a different location. We're down in the study. And we set up a little bit different. And before we go to Jarvis's corner, Jarvis and I, we came up with an idea that we were going to display the books that we're currently reading.
Yes, sir.
Jarvis, tell us a little bit about your book that's here and what the title is and how it's impacted you so far.
It's a book by Tim Grover. It's called Relentless. It's about Kobe Bryant and how he trained many top athletes like Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, and a few others. And it's a very impactful book because it teaches you about how they trained, how they put a lot of time into their game and their craft. So it brings a lot of insight for me in my daily life on how to be like a cleaner. A cleaner is a guy that just goes out there and just gets the job done regardless of the situation. And so it impacts my life in so many ways. So it's been a great thing for me.
Well, I'll tell you, everybody knows your passion for Kobe Bryant and Tim Grover. From my understanding, Tim Grover is really an iconic trainer. He focuses more on mind control. And basically what he says is, hey, look, if you think that it's all about, being physical, it's not. It's more mental stability. Well, a book that I'm actually reading right now is by John C. Maxwell, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And basically in this book, leadership-wise, it's basically talking about, how you can learn from your greatest failures. Like sometimes all your failures that you have in your life isn't always bad. And one thing that sticks out to me about, John C. Maxwell used to be a pastor. And then he has a leadership university. And my degree back behind you, my bachelor's degree is in leadership. And I personally am in love with leadership. And that's one of the reasons why I love coaching football, because I actually get a chance to lead men. And then when I was coaching youth football, turning young men into men. And then now coaching my professional football, making men greater men. And this is a great book, great read for both Relentless and Sometimes You Win and Sometimes You Learn. John C. Maxwell and Tim Grover, Relentless. Tim Grover also has a few other books out that we plan on gifting you with. Basically, one was called Winning. Yes. And really with that, there's a lot of pro athletes that have read this book. And that was one of the reasons why it was very important for us to send you that book out, because I think the way, like I've always told you, the way that you approach the game is the same way you approach life, whether it's being a husband, being an employee, being the leader of BNB-SUITES. And also, too, by the way, BNB-SUITES is the #1 Airbnb in Central Texas. Right now, I will tell you, it is summertime. It is hot. And BNB-SUITES is right online. We actually had a guest that stayed here, and when they stayed, they actually were recommended by Southwest Airlines. And anytime Southwest Airlines, I don't care who you are or what you're doing, that's a huge thing. So great accomplishment for our platinum sponsor for BNB-SUITES. We're going to shoot it over to you for Jarvis's Corner, and Jarvis is going to give us the quote of the day.
Today's quote of the day is, never lose sight of the bigger picture when it comes to life, because sometimes we overlook, the things that are most important to us, the gifts that God gives us. And I think we should always be surrounded by the people we need the most. And God gives us all the tools that we need to inspire others. And we should use our tools to touch others, even though we may sometimes be in our darkest moments in our life, which use that to learn, to understand, and learn from our mistakes that we go through in life. So that's the topic for today.
Wow. Well, I tell you, I've made plenty of mistakes as a man in my life and as a coach and husband, father, all of that. And I think that any man, you know what? I will say this. I wouldn't want to be around anyone or have a friendship or even own a business with anyone that hasn't went through something. I think adversity is what makes you successful as a man, woman, entrepreneurship. Digging right into our topics, again, our research development team, Breonn and Mari, they're not present now, but you know, Breonn came up with a great topic for us to kind of talk about, which I know when Breonn is here, he has a very great perspective on things. Yes, but wow, how times have changed. You know, I was born in 78. What year were you born in?
I was born in 89.
89. So you're talking about an 11-year age gap between you and I. Mm-hmm. And we are in some times that before it used to take us 15 to 20 minutes to hook up to the AOL internet.
Yes, sir.
Now you can't go into a home and the first thing they tell you is Wi-Fi. They don't even say hello. They ask you what your Wi-Fi password is.
Wi-Fi password?
They don't even ask you. They don't even ask you how you doing. They say, excuse me, what's your Wi-Fi password? And you know, this is the time that we're living in. You're living in a life of NIL, name, image, and likeness, where college athletes are getting paid, which is going to be another subject that we're going to talk about, which I'm very excited to talk about. Then you're living a life of social media, which we've had this discussion before in the past, yes, but we're going to kind of touch on that and we'll move forward because, you know, social media is a great platform or it can be a bad platform. Mm-hmm. And, you know, cell phones. You know, I always joke on you all the time, and I say, you know, matter of fact, I'll give you a quick story. You know, Latanya and I, when we met, she had an Android, mm-hmm, and I had an iPhone. Go iPhone, by the way. So I had an iPhone, and I was like, hey, how am I going to FaceTime you? And she's like, FaceTime? I'm like, I said, yeah. I said, well, there's no way that we're going to continue dating or even being together if, you know, you don't get an iPhone. So I went down there, got her an iPhone, and after we got married and everything, that's pretty much what we did for our first year of marriage while I was stationed overseas in Korea. And the point that I'm making is that there was a time that we used to just write letters. And it was love letters, 5-page letters, 10-page letters. And there was a time that we didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, we're screenshotting. We are sending messages to other people where video and whether it's Google Duo.
Going viral.
Going viral. Mm-hmm. I mean, you name it. Yeah. And also, too, everybody has a movement. And I know in the LGBTQ community, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I actually have people that's close to me and children that are in the LGBT community. And I fully support it. I'm going to love my children. I'm going to love anyone in my family that is of that background. Mm-hmm. There's some people that accept it, there's some people don't. And there's movements geared towards it. And then there's some people that feel that, you know, well, there's a movement towards LGBTQ, you know, why isn't there a movement for everything else? Yes, well, on those list of lines, these are the subjects that we'll be talking about today, the OC Live podcast. I hope that we don't bore you too much, but we want to dive right in, Jarvis, and we want to talk about, so you basically were born in 89, right?
Yes, sir. And
you were born in 89, you know, cell phones were getting ready to come out right around the 90s.
That's true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember those big box phones, the cell phones, they were in a box, mm-hmm, and you have to carry them?
Yes, sir.
Well, imagine that and then imagine this.
Big difference.
Big difference, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is it that makes our world go now with cell phones, one? And do you think that our generation right now if cell phones became obsolete, would our world be as happy and as effective as it was years ago without it?
I would say so. I mean, phones are just everybody. You go to eat dinner, everybody's on their phone, everybody's tweeting, texting, doing all kinds of things. And I think back then when we didn't have phones, like when we were young kids with our grandparents, we was just eating, conversating, talking about life. How was your day at work? How was your day at school and stuff like that. So I think nowadays just those type of things, the qualities of family time and just doing things together, that doesn't matter anymore.
So does that make it right that we put so much emphasis on cell phones? Just the simple fact of the matter, case in point, every camera has a phone, right? And whether we know it or not, we're being watched.
Exactly.
Whether we're coaching a football game or we're coaching in practice, or whether you can just be out to dinner with your wife and somebody can be videoing you. Do you think that cell phones have gotten a bad rap because we're putting them in the hands of people that are not responsible? Or do you think cell phones are convenient for us to be able to get things done right now? And if we were to divert from cell phones, do you ever see us going back to ever having a house phone in our home again?
The way I look at cell phones, I look at it, it's like it could be like a drug. You know what I'm saying? Drug to you. For some people, like you were saying, is I gotta use it for this, social media or this, or being liked or being seen on Facebook and all that stuff. And sometimes other people's cell phones is some like the older generation. They're like, dang, I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to use social media. I don't know how to use certain things on the phone. But I think it can go both ways. I think it can be a good thing for some people. It can be a bad thing for some people. For like business people that have businesses and stuff like that, or want to succeed and do things in school, college, and stuff like that. And I think we'll never go back to the old ways. I think that we'll never. We're gonna keep expanding and keep growing, and before you know it, computers gonna be cell phones or other things like that. It's gonna keep going. So.
Yeah, most definitely. And while we're on the cell phones, a form of communication could be. What is it? The Amazon Dot, the Echo Dot. The Echo Dot, where you can actually make phone calls from an Echo Dot, or they actually have an Echo Dot, and Meta has a product where you can actually see what's going on in your home.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie Enemy of State by Will Smith?
Oh yes, sir. I see.
And back in the day, this is what time we're living in right now, where everything is being listened to.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing that you're doing is a secret. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Just depends on how you use it.
Yes, sir.
My take on cell phones is I think it's a wonderful thing. I think that we're able to get out more information. I think that back in the time I was growing up, I feel that it was the times, for me, the times were better without it because it focused more on us talking more one-on-one.
Yeah.
If I had something to say to you and I didn't like you or there was a disagreement, I would have to come to you and talk to you face to face.
Or write a letter.
Social skills, right? Or write a letter. Now it's like, oh, hey, you gonna call him? You gonna call her? No, I'm gonna text him. And then you got these thumbwar gangsters texting you, talking about, hey man, what's up? If you want to do this, come handle it.
Yeah.
But they could call you, they could say it to your face too.
Exactly.
But they don't know how you're gonna react. And I just feel that good or bad, we're not going back to those times.
No, sir.
And cell phones I pay all my bills on my cell phone. I get it done right away. Sure of you.
Yes, sir.
We're able to get so much more information out.
Yeah.
But how do you feel, even though you all don't have kids now, but you will soon, hint, hint. How do you feel about, what if your daughter or your son wanted a cell phone at the age of 10 in this world that we're living in right now? How do you think you and Yunise would react to that?
For me, we always talk about that. I think for me, my goal is to try to instill the qualities that my parents instilled in us. Like we didn't have a TV in our room. We didn't have none of that. We had to read a book every day and stuff like that. So my goal is just not, when they start crying and be like, oh, here's an iPad or here's a cell phone. I want to be able to just like try to just, here's a book, read this. Try to do other things instead of just having that cell phone. Because like we said, it's so much out there for these kids nowadays to get their hands into, and it can be a bad thing for them.
Well, we have the world at our fingertips right now, and we live in a microwave world. We live in a microwave society, and I don't care what anybody says or thinks. I truly feel and I truly believe that we're at a point of no return. And with that being said, we can turn around and we can look at our parents that are nowhere near as savvy as we have to be on our phones.
Yes, sir.
And I feel bad for them because they're not from that generation. They're from a generation where I pick up the phone, I do the little circle dialing, or I dial on a regular house phone.
Yeah.
And when the phone rings, everybody in the house knows that the phone is ringing. Now you got kids going to bed with their cell phones. You've got good things happening, bad things happening with it. But I don't think that cell phones should be punished, or the people that are making these phones like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, with Microsoft and Apple and all those people, God bless his soul, the late Steve Jobs. But these are inventions that we're able to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I feel that just like anything, just like you getting your license, if you get a kid a car too early, they ain't going to treat it right.
That's true.
But I feel like if you make a child earn it, or you make people earn it, and they're paying for their phone, their money, I feel like it'll be treated correctly. Law enforcement is using it a lot to catch criminals. And, also too, businesses are property.
Yes,
So let me ask you this question. When you, with BNB Suites, you're the CEO, you're the mastermind behind BNB Suites. How effective is you running your business? How effective is that through your cell phone or through these devices?
That's 100% effective because it's all automated. Everything's automated. Like I have the a robot. You can send automated messages to the people, or I can do it myself. So it really helps myself and my team around me, so we all can communicate and network and connect with the people the guests that we have.
Well, you said one key thing. You said 100%. And if you said 100% and you're an entrepreneur and you are very fortunate to have the great team that you have behind you, but number one, being the mastermind of BNB Suites, you have the number one Airbnb in Central Texas.
Yes, sir.
Everything you are doing is through automation. All your communication is through automation, right?
Yes, sir.
So what if I'm a customer and I want a paper receipt? How does that work?
And we have the paper book, so if you need a paper receipt, we can give you a paper receipt too. So we have both ways because for the older generation, like I said, we have to help them with the steps of how to book and how to go on there and pick their dates and stuff like that. So I'm a patient person when it comes to that because I understand that the older generation don't understand as much.
So with that being said, I'm a huge fan of cell phones. I am that guy that will go out. I got the iPhone 13. I am that guy will go out and get a 14, a 15, a 16. And I stay current. You know why? I feel like your phone is your identity now.
Yeah.
Your phone is your identity. If your phone is cracked, I'm going to look at you and be like, I don't think I'm going to close this deal. This is like a woman with messed up nails or hair. Or a man that doesn't have a haircut, not groomed. I feel like your phone now represents you. And having that being said, I love the fact that I can do everything from my phone. I love the fact that I can talk to my family or talk to you on my phone. Not just a normal talk. I can see you. And honestly, think about it. Years ago, we would go to the grocery store, right? and you be like, tell me what you want again. Now you be like, hey, don't tell me. Hold on. Let me call you on Duo. Let me call you on video.
Yep.
See? Mm-hmm. So there is perks, good and bad to it. And I say that cell phones are here to stay. We're in 100% agreement that cell phones are here. Lastly, talking about cell phones, before we head into our topic of social media, what makes me stand out now is cell phones and social media go together.
That's true.
Why? Because you have apps. Mm-hmm. What's your take on how we're able to just go to an app store and have access to any business that we want? Based on, in your younger days, you would have to call that company and get information. How does that impact you now that you can just go out, get an app, pay your bills, run your business, all of that?
I think it's a good investment. I think it's good, for everybody. You get an opportunity to go out and get on, download the apps of businesses and, understand those businesses. And eventually, if you want to, be an entrepreneur, you understand and study that. Like, okay, I can make me an app myself for my business or whatever. So I think it's a good opportunity.
So let's talk about this. BNB-SUITES, we talked about in business meetings, we talked about QR codes and all that.
Yes, sir.
And the next thing you know, we turn back around. This guy, it's got a QR code. Mm-hmm. How accessible is that QR code for you? First of all, you're more computer savvy than I am. What is a QR code and how does it help your business?
A QR code it's pretty much like a shortcut. It's like, what I'm saying, like if you got your Facebook, your website, Instagram and all that stuff, Google and all that stuff, you can just hit the QR code, give them the QR code, and they can just click on it. Boom! It takes them to all your stuff that for your business. So it's really savvy for people that want to just take shortcuts. Like they don't want to like go on their phone and actually look for it. Just take a picture of QR code and boom, you're right there.
So let me ask you a question. Are business cards becoming obsolete now that we have QR codes?
Yes, sir. They are.
Menus in restaurants?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. You can see. Matter of fact, you see them in Walmart or when you go to Cheddar's and stuff. They have like QR code. You want to see the menu? Boom.
So, is it safe to say that people are assuming that everybody has a cell phone?
Yeah, that's what the world is involved 100% by cell phone. So yeah, they're what they're assuming.
Well, guess what? We ain't never going back. Mm-hmm. We ain't never going back to cell phones not being here. And, I like to poke a lot of fun. And normally we have CT. CT is a jokester on our podcast. And we love the team and the family. And we always have Mari. Mari's a philosophist. And then we have Breonn. Breonn is like the Malcolm X of the group. He's got all this theology and all that. And we miss these guys tonight. But, one thing I will say is that on our podcast, starting off, we're not doing this for likes or for hits. We're doing this to put out some type of message and content.
That's true.
And there's been some people that have been critical of how you and I do things in terms of, we should have this, we should have that, we should do this, we should do that. What's really, your take on critics in terms of, us with our podcast, the Oats Life podcast, and people thinking that we should be having all this extravagant stuff like these NFL people?
For me, it's first thing first. We always keep God first, so that's one thing that we do. But for me, it's not about getting all that extravagant stuff. It's not about that. It's about starting where you at. It's a process. Mm-hmm. You start small. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you continue to grow. Everything else is gonna come along. So you continue to do what your goal is, your passion is, and doing what we've been doing. I know everything else is gonna come. I'm not worried about any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I mentioned that because of what I stated earlier. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people can be overcritical. Yeah. And I think back in lines, cell phones, transition into social media. Yeah. You have oversensitive people that I call them thumb war gangsters. Mm-hmm. The thumb war gangsters are going to bully you when they see you doing something good, or they see you out in the public eye and they see you doing good things. They'll get on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Snapchat, and they'll speak negative things about you before they tell you good things about what you've got going on. And I feel that social media is a great platform.
It is.
But I also feel that social media is being severely abused.
Oh, yeah.
And social media, what it does is it empowers the weak that have no intention on being a real man or woman when it comes to being upfront, face to face. People have the ability to be critical. And I'm going to tell you this. Everyone knows, or the people that know me, including yourself, you know, I was an offensive coordinator. I'm a football coach, offensive coordinator. And there was a time back in the day where when you worked at a job or you were coaching ball or playing sports or whatever, that you could do something, say something. Kids were more respectful. And they would be like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And they would handle it right there. Parents would come and talk to say, hey, you know, Mr. Jarvis, you know, what happened while this, and this. And you would explain it to them. Or you go out there, you make a mistake on the football field, and, you know, the coach chews you out, and it's forgotten about.
That's it.
Or you coach football, you coach your players hard, you're about your business, tell a player like it is, yes, coach, they move on.
Yeah.
Now, it's all that what I just said, you're sleeping, Yunise wakes you up and says, hey, honey, did you see this? Such and such has said this about you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute. I thought we talked about that.
Yeah. I thought it was that was it.
I thought it was over. This is what I'm saying about social media, where social media empowers the weak, because what happens is now, instead of you being a man or woman about your business, you're being a thumb war gangster and you're speaking about other people versus telling them face to face. And this is what I say. Social media has become overemphasized and is oversensitized. You got a lot of sensitive people out there. You got people killing themselves and committing suicide because they're being bullied on social media because someone isn't happy in their life. And now what happens is like Breonn said, everything is at the touch of a button, right? So my question to you is, out of what I just explained to you, is social media, and we've talked about it before, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on this.
Yes, sir.
But I want us to really get to the bottom of it. Is social media, like cell phones, a platform that's here to stay, number one? And number two, what is your take on those thumb war gangsters that you thought that you fixed it and you squashed it, or you let bygones be bygones, but then now they turn back around and they're saying all this negative stuff about you for the whole world to know?
I think social media is here to stay. I think it's going to be here forever. They're going to grow. It's going to expand. They're going to come out with a new social, like new Facebook or new Instagram. It's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. And with the the Twitter fingers, thumb wars, and all that stuff, I just think, like, when everybody, like, some people, when they wake up, they look at social media and they're like, oh, let me see what Coach Owen's doing. Let me see what Breonn is doing. Or they're hating on people's success or people's what people are doing. Like, the number one thing for social media is mental health, depression. Depression is big for social media because some people look at other people's lives and think, like, dang, I should be like that. I should be like Coach Owen. I should be like that. And I think when you look at social media, I think it's really crazy to see all the things that happen to people, like you said, with people dying and getting killed every day.
So we're gonna have a little fun here. We want to play a game.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna bring up a social media site, and we're gonna give you 10 seconds to give us the first thing that comes to your mind when it comes to social media.
Yes, sir.
Facebook.
Facebook it's got a lot of pictures and a lot of words. You get a lot of quotes and a lot of words. People can talk a lot of crap on Facebook. There's so much on Facebook. You can put your business out there, everything. So it's a lot of it's a good platform. I think so.
Twitter
fingers. People get on there. They express themselves, speak their mind on how they feel for that moment or that second.
Excuse me.
That's what Twitter is.
Snapchat
is about going viral. The moment of what you're doing for the moment. Oh, I'm at this $1 million home, or I'm floss flexing and stuff like that. TikTok is about getting that one viral video to go viral so you can be a millionaire, be a superstar for the moment. YouTube is many platforms. It can be for your business. It can be life. Like we're doing our podcast. It can be for so many things. Like you can be seen doing something that you're not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Or your first time, like say you make a mistake, they're gonna put it on YouTube or put it on World Star and all this other crazy stuff. So yeah, that's what YouTube is.
Yeah, and so I did that because what I want us to do is I want us to think about something. I want us to think about cell phones and social media. They're tied together. Mm-hmm. And what I just did was I just painted a picture. Because we started off with this subject of cell phones first, right?
Yes, sir.
The world's at our fingertips.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, I download that app. Now, not only do I have the world at my fingertips, I have the ability to destroy my life or enhance my life. Mm-hmm. Are you a firm believer that parents should manage their children's social media accounts better?
I think so, because there's so much out there for them to see, and you don't want them to put themselves out there and be like, come to you with questions of like, "Hey, mom, what is this?" Because you want to be able to teach them to show them the right ways of what to expect in this world. So it's big.
So the social media, we got the January 6th riot. Mm-hmm. And I have a problem with this. January 6th riot happens. What was the number one platform was used to incite all of the foolishness that happened on January 6th at the Capitol?
Was it Facebook?
It was social media.
Social media.
It was all platforms of social media. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm saying. You have people that are, they are signing off on hatred. Yeah. And then you have some people that are signing off on positivity. Mm-hmm. So my take on it is, just like life, choices are good or bad. That's true. You go on your cell phone, it's good or bad. You have a lot of access. I think cell phones and social media is like getting your driver's license.
That's true.
Are you going to trust your child to go behind that phone? And hell, even the fact of just knowing that you're parenting your child, you have no idea that your child is videoing you. Mm-hmm. They send that video out to someone else. You could have got a good old-fashioned butt whooping, maybe a couple of smacks or whatever. Yeah. I've never been a big firm believer of that, but you're taking your private moments and they're out to the world, like you said, World Star. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that those actions that you see on social media, do you feel like the January 6th riot and all that stuff, do you feel like the people on social media have done enough to monitor when you see that alert? Just like Uvalde, the guy, the shooter, was known as a certain name on there.
Yeah.
Why are we ignoring these signs of premeditated crime?
I think it's, I think, you know, with social media, they show you one thing to get your mind off the most important things that matter the most. So that's what I look at social media. Social media can be dangerous. I think it can be a dangerous game.
Well, just like any, I know we're not going back.
No, we're not.
Again, I want, we try to have fun on our podcast, but you've got two serious-minded guys that truly care about glorifying the good Lord and honestly just talking about subjects that people won't speak about. What I want to do is I want to give you the floor because there's some viewers, out there that don't think that you talk enough on our podcast, and I'm definitely not trying to talk a whole lot. But when you got somebody like CT, I mean, how can you not? So what I'm going to do is there's going to be an episode where I'm going to dress up as Breonn off of Medea, and CT is going to, no, I'm going to dress up as Joe, and CT is going to be Breonn, because I call CT Breonn, and he calls me Joe. And I like the character Joe because Joe is a very caring man, but he's just very direct and blunt with what he wants. And Breonn is just like
Goofball.
Is a goofball. Life is what it is, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
If you had to pick one character, a funny character, based off your personality, who would it be, and why?
I would say, because everybody compared me to Jamie Foxx. I
Okay.
would say a Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
I would say a Jamie Foxx. Man.
Okay.
Just,
What about Jamie Foxx stands out to you?
He's very creative. He's got many talents. He doesn't just act. He can be funny. He can play music, sing, piano. He can do so many things. So I think I got so many qualities, so many talents. They may be hidden. Like, Jamie Foxx, he don't put them all out there, but he just does it. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know he can do that.
Right.
That's how I am for me.
Yeah. Right. And Breonn, I always say Breonn is like the Malcolm X.
Yeah, Malcolm X.
He's just the Malcolm X of our podcast. So, as I kind of flip this thing over, with you, I kind of want you to kind of spin on this introduction to our next and our last topic before we go to our roundtable. LGBTQ.
Yes, sir.
LGBTQ is known as Pride. Pride celebrations. I've actually been to Pride celebrations, and because I feel that in order to support any nation, any movement, I think it's important to support.
Exactly.
And there was a time in the Army, it was don't ask, don't tell. It was, if you're gay, you can't speak about certain things. If you're a lesbian, you can't, it's wrong, this, that, whatever. And everybody has their own right on what they decide to do.
Exactly.
But when you have family members and you have children that are a part of that community, now you have to really take a step back and look and say, do I love my children enough to accept them for who they are? That's right?
Yes, sir.
And when you walk through this door, am I judging you or is this a judgment-free zone? I always feel, Tanya and I, that we're in a judgment-free zone.
Yes, sir.
You may say tomatoes, I may say tomatoes. Are you judging me because you say it different than me? Although LGBTQ and Pride, there's a movement, our world, just like cell phones and social media, we have to adapt and overcome. I don't personally feel that we're dedicating enough, not just to the LGBT community, But I don't feel that we're dedicating ourselves enough to the United Negro College Fund, the different scholarships and different people. I think that everybody should be accepted no matter what walk of life they are.
That's true.
However, there are some people against cell phones and some people against social media. It's not going anywhere.
It's not.
We are in too deep. If you look at every commercial, we are in too deep when it comes to LGBTQ because they say love is love. If you look in the Bible, it talks about love.
That's true.
Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4 through 8 talks about love. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not boastful, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although you don't have children yet, do you have some type of affiliation or know people that are within the LGBT community that you still have conversation with, a relationship with, although you're not that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you fully support them, and how have they, if any, impacted your life?
Yeah, I have a family member that's in it. One of my cousins that's in it, and I'm not judgmental about it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we can't be judgmental. You know what I'm saying? God is not judgmental, so why can't you be judgmental about the whole situation? And I think it's impacted my life. It's just trying to get a better understanding of, the whole situation of what LGBTQ means and everything. Just understanding them and why, the way they are and stuff like that. And I support it fully. So I mean, if my kids, when I have kids and they come out and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm gay or whatever, I'm a lesbian," it's just about supporting them and understand. Like, I'm gonna give them the full love. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing. You can't be judgmental.
Well, why are we so uncomfortable with this subject? Because I know a lot of times we talk about conversations and people only want to talk about what's comfortable.
Mm.
On the OC Life podcast, where we turn your life into a message, we don't want to talk about what's comfortable. Mm-hmm. We want to turn your life into a message. We want to talk about what's real, what's out there. For all our viewers out there, I know you've gotten some notes, but for ones that don't know what LGBTQ is, what does the acronym LGBTQ stand for?
Okay, for the letter L, it stands for lesbians. For the letter G, it stands for gay. The letter B, it stands for bisexual. T stands for transgender. Q stands for it has two meanings. Q are questioning their identity. Mm-hmm. And then you got I stands for intersex. A stands for asexual, and then they have the plus sign. That's a symbol that it's pretty much a symbol of other sexual identities that they can add on to that. Mm-hmm. So that's what it stands for, sir.
So, with that being said, we're at a point of no return in the LGBT community. There's been talks about delegalizing same-sex marriages.
Yes, sir.
Which I'm completely against. I think that you love who you love. And anybody that doesn't believe that, just take a look around. Look at our White House spokeswoman.
Yes.
She's African American and she's a lesbian.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so, if that's the case, and I'm looking dead into the camera, why do you, anybody that watches this, why do you have an issue with it? Why should we not embrace it just like we embrace any other organization out there? On the OC Life podcast and us as individual men, we are for equality.
Exactly.
In whatever way your equality is. Mm-hmm. And just like you talked about the plus sign, adding on to whatever. Yes, we live in a generation where we've made it okay. We've exposed our children with cell phones. We put things on social media that kids can look at that when I was a young kid, I would never be able to see half the things.
Even in cartoons now.
Even in cartoons. Mm. So now, growing up, this is a norm for them. Exactly. Yep. And we are forced as baby boomers, millennials, Generation X, whatever the baby boomer background, whatever that is, we are now forced to make some choices. Let me give you a hypothetical question, and I know you're a big Alabama fan. Nick Saban hates hypothetical questions. But not if. You're a CEO. You're the CEO of BNB-SUITES.
Yes, sir.
And we have guests that are within the gay or lesbian community or transsexual community.
Yes, sir.
And you know that. And they have all the skill set that you need. Would you or would you not hire them, or would you judge them based off what they presented to you of who they are?
I will hire them because at the end of the day, it's not about them being a lesbian or whatever. It's about the person. That's what it's all about. It's about the person. What qualities do you have? I don't care about what you are, white, black, whatever, or lesbian, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It's about the talents, the qualities that you have that's going to impact my business.
You follow basketball a lot. You and I both. And there was a time that I was very intrigued with one basketball player outside of Michael Jordan. One of my favorite players, outside of Michael Jordan at the time was Dwayne Wade.
Yes, sir.
And Dwayne Wade, he was from Chicago. He went to Marquette University. Dwayne Wade, son, actually came out and they supported him. Yes. Gabrielle Union, she came out, she supported him, as a parent, of the household, and they have embraced. What do you say about the critics out there that are really giving Dwayne Wade a lot of flack because he came out and he's supporting his daughter, which was his son, now it's daughter.
Yes.
What do you say of those people that say it's only accepted because Dwayne Wade is famous?
I think that's crazy. I think you should be able to accept anybody. It doesn't matter if they're famous, if they're rich, they're poor, whatever. I think his choice and what he feels about his son, that's up to him. You know what I'm saying? We can't judge that because at the end of the day, what if that was you in his shoes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it.
Well, I say that because, I have family members, that's in the lifestyle, and they, make choices.
Yes, sir.
And I would never thought twice about it. I've always been the type that I'm the one that goes on a lazy river, and wherever that river takes me, that's where I'm going. One thing that I love about myself is I have the ability to be transparent. I think this world is the most transparent it has ever been, and we're not finished yet.
No.
But there's businesses that are losing money, and there's businesses that are making money because they are accepting this movement.
Yes.
Do you feel that we're putting too much emphasis on LGBTQ movement? Or do you feel that we should focus our time and energy into other movements and organizations based on today's society?
I think we should move the movement to others as well. We should touch everything as a whole, as a base, to bring the world closer and make it a better place. That's what I would think.
Because I feel that for so long, I could only imagine if, you have a child or, a child that it's a young boy or girl that's gay. And they cannot fully open themselves up to be who they are because they have to hide it. In all those years in being judged. And some of them wasn't lucky enough to get out. Some of them wasn't fortunate enough to be out and get out because they actually committed suicide.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they did not have the resources that we have now. I personally think the movement is strong because society and the world is really trying to say, hey, look, we're here. We're not going anywhere. Just like you being straight or you being in a monogamous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
However, we should not be looked down upon because, again, we live in a sensitive world now where people want, like, comment, subscribe. We say it.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Life Podcast. We turn your life to your masterpiece. Like, comment, subscribe, right?
That's true.
But at the end of the day, these people of all descents are looking for acceptance.
That's true.
And I'm with you. 3,000,000%. I feel that we need to still highlight and support our pride movement. I also feel that we should still highlight all other movements.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that we are overly concerning ourselves with just the pride community and not putting emphasis on other communities?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody's looking into the LGBTQ. Mm-hmm. They're all just focused on that without focusing on all the other stuff that's going around the world, like you said. The other
because you're not saying you're against it. Obviously, you're just saying, hey, look, this is the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. Good. Now this function over here. Mm-hmm. Tie all these together.
Together, exactly. Make it as one.
So why is there so much hatred? Because you look at Pride. They had a Pride festival, and I think it was South Dakota, North Dakota. Excuse me, audience, if I got it wrong, but it was somewhere in those areas.
Yes, sir.
And they had like over 20-something Caucasian men, or I don't know if it was all Caucasian, but they were getting ready to do harm to the LGBT community. They were going to go shoot and they were going to ambush that Pride festival.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And they got arrested, and they got a tip-off by a normal civilian off the street. They heard that this was going to go down.
Yeah.
They caught him. They arrested him. They had U-Haul trucks. They were at an actual big U-Haul truck. They were in the back of the U-Haul truck. They were going to come out and they were going to do whatever. Now, thank you for this this hero, the civilian who actually tipped off, because no matter what, whether you're LGBTQ, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're whatever, you are still a human being in this world.
Yep, that's true.
And no matter what, when you root for the WNBA, I don't know if we have the ability to look it up. What percentage of the WNBA is lesbian, bisexual, all that? That's something for us to really look at, because we are actually in a world where the WNBA is very popular.
Very popular.
And Kobe Bryant was working to brand that.
Yes, sir, he was.
Kobe knew that there was lesbians that were in the WNBA, college basketball, high school, middle school, elementary school. You never heard him speak negative about it. You never heard it, because he probably understood that this is the movement.
Exactly.
If you're going to be a successful person in business, I personally feel that this is a movement that you need to accept. And you need to really put some structure and order into your business.
Yes, sir.
And even you, I would look at the fact that, hey, you're saying I'm open to it. If they get the job done, they get the job done. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, doesn't matter what your descent is or your background. I don't like this subject when people frown upon it and they're judgmental, because they feel that they feel that this is something that is going somewhere.
Yes, sir.
It's not. You said it plain. You said cell phones ain't going nowhere. You said social media is not going nowhere, and LGBTQ is not going anywhere. What are your final thoughts on, the LGBTQ? And if any one of our viewers are listening out there that's LGBTQ, what are some of your final thoughts on this subject? What would you want the audience to know?
I would say, for anybody. You know what I'm saying? If you're part of the community, you're not a part of the community, I would say just, if you are, just follow your heart. Whatever you want to be is whatever you want to be. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all human beings. You have the right to do or be anything that you want in this world. That's what we're put on this earth to be. Anything that you want to be. You can't be judged. You can't be judgmental about a person being gay or any of that. You can't be like that. Because at the end of the day, what if it's your child? What if your child came to you and said, hey, mom, hey, dad, I'm gay. Then what are you going to do? You going to whip them, or what are you going to do to them? You know, so I think the world is free. You have to, whatever you want to be, just be. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's very well said, by the way. And I just flipped through this book, and you know, John C. Maxwell said, life is more difficult for those who don't respond correctly to challenges.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to accept change,
Yeah.
for instance, our sport, football,
Mm-hmm.
there's no more I formations and offset eyes anymore.
No, sir.
There's no more wishbones. There's no more, triple options without some type of spread packages in there. The game is being played now, 100 yards north and south, 53 and a half yards east and west.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, sir.
I use that analogy out there, whether it's tennis, basketball,
Swimming,
baseball, swimming, whatever. On the OC Life podcast, where we turn your life into a message, we want to speak directly to the LGBT community and say, we salute you, right? We're not judgmental of the lifestyle. We would love to see more emphasis on every movement out there that's positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said, is you said that what if your child is a part of the LGBT community?
Mm-hmm.
And then what if you have your closest family member that's against it?
Exactly.
What wrath does that cause?
Yeah.
But in this time, in this day, we are in a position of a point of no return. We're not going back to the phones being on the wall. You look at every single form you fill out, whether it's a form for a loan, application, everybody's using their mobile phone as their house phone. They're giving you the same phone number for home phone, house phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or mobile phone, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
You got the most famous people, to include our president, former presidents, our greatest leaders, are on social media.
Yes, sir.
And then you also have so many different people who are, honestly, they are to a point where everybody is to a point where they are now accepting to so many different backgrounds and entities and and car clubs and all this.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that we're not going back. And what I love about this, and I thank Breonn for having the intellect to even think about this, is basically we're at a point of no return.
No return.
And we are in support of everything that anybody wants to do. We really ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast, not to make us look good, but to glorify the message that could be in the 48 minutes and 15-second part comment that can help save your child's life or can help your business. This guy comes behind the scenes every day, every Wednesday, and comes on Tuesday to set up, and Wednesday we're putting all this together. We're not doing this for clout. We're not doing this for recognition for our own individual gain. Everything starts with a vision. We're doing this to put out great information to the ones that see fit to want the information.
Yeah.
We have a research team, and Breonn leads that team to provide topics that we think that you all want to hear and speak about. What we don't do is lie and shortchange the truth. But we're not out here to discredit any organization and people, but we are here to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. What I challenge everyone to do, all the viewers out there, is to think about the impact of cell phones and with social media and the LGBT community and all other movements out there. How can we become a better America? How can we become a better community? Although we would love for you to comment, like, and subscribe, we are human. Things happen. But like Jarvis said, we are accepting to all communities. Mm-hmm. Jarvis, I'd like for you to close us out, because I truly think that the public eye really needs to hear words of encouragement.
Yes, sir.
We're in hell right now in America. We've got dams blowing up. We've got grids that are about to blow, and they're telling us to preserve energy, and they're telling us to preserve water, and gas prices have went up, and food has went up. If you could just take about 30 seconds, 45 seconds of your time to close us out. And maybe we're talking to a hurting soul. Maybe we're talking to a hurting American out there. Mm-hmm. What is your advice to our struggling people that are going through these hard times right now that may not have the resources that you and I have, or blessings?
I would say the first thing first is just to, keep God first in this world, because every day, what I'm saying, we're all battling, our fears, our darkest moments in life, because every day is we fight through dark times. Every day you're going through it with your family, or going through it with somebody at work, or just not getting paid enough, or different things in life. And I feel like if you continue to just weather the storm, try to, keep the faith, because every day we wake up, you got to have some faith. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, wake up tomorrow and be like, I don't care about the world. Or you can't think like that. You have to wake up with some type of faith that at the end of the day, that the sun will shine on you. The sun will eventually shine. It will never, the darkness don't last forever. So I think we should wake up with the mindset of saying, I can't take life for granted. I can't take this life for granted. Every day is precious to me. I got to be able to wake up and say I love the people around me, my family, the people you care about. You got to wake up with the mindset of saying, I don't know how long I got on this earth. We don't. You don't know. You may wake up tomorrow and you might be dead. You never know. So you got to wake up with the mindset of just enjoying life, trusting God, and understand that it will never be dark forever.
Please like, comment, subscribe to Those Two Life Podcast, where we turn your life into a message. We're sponsored by our platinum sponsor, BNB-SUITES, which is the #1 Airbnb in Central Texas. Please reach out to Jarvis on Airbnb, booking.com. And also, too, go to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to have his point of contact there. Also, Divine Ingredients. If you want to feel divine and you need that ingredient, please see Mari and go get your Divine Ingredients gear. Yep. Also, too, giving a shout out to AAUCS Cleaning Service, where staying clean is a way of life. Mm-hmm. We definitely are happy to be back. Mm-hmm. We all have had a busy summer so far, and we were able to spend time with our families, but now we're back putting out great content every Wednesday. And we are looking to go live here shortly to do a live podcast where we can open it up to Q&As and different questions for anybody, for any viewers out there that would like. Please send comments of different topics that you would like, for us to talk about. And also, please rate, who the prettiest one on the show is, right? And please rate who the silliest one on the show is. We all know I'm going to win that. But also, too, if you want, just take some time out, send us a nice write-up, and just be honest with us. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. We're all missing something. But one thing we're not missing is turning your life into a message. This is OC Life Podcast here with the greatest co-host that the world has ever seen. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, also, too, if you want some shapewear, please go see Yunise Elder at Unique.shapewear. She will get you right. She'll have you looking fine, ladies. And also, too, guys, she'll have you looking like you've been in the gym for all your life. We definitely appreciate you. We definitely thank you. And we want to say God bless and have a great night. And until next time, this is OC Life, and we turn your life into a message. God bless.
God bless.